Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Now this start video. The Lancaster House Summit, while symbolically significant, has left many questions unanswered, particularly regarding the role of the United States in shaping the future of Ukraine. Sir Keir Starmer's efforts to rally European leaders around a unified strategy for Ukraine were commendable, but the shadow of American ambivalence loomed large over the proceedings. The summit's success ultimately hinges on whether it can sway Donald Trump's administration to align with Europe's vision for Ukraine, a prospect that remains uncertain. Trump's approach to Ukraine has been markedly different from that of his European counterparts. His administration has consistently emphasized economic engagement over military commitment, as evidenced by his suggestion that the presence of U.S. mining firms in Ukraine could serve as a stabilizing force. This transactional view of international relations has created friction with European leaders who see a robust military and diplomatic presence as essential to deterring Russian aggression. Sir Keir's explicit call for strong U.S. backing underscores the growing divide between Europe and America on this issue. The summit's focus on transforming Ukraine into a steel porcupine reflects Europe's determination to bolster Ukraine's defensive capabilities. Ursula von der Leyen's metaphor captures the essence of the strategy: to make Ukraine so resilient that any potential invader would find it impossible to digest. This vision, however, requires more than just European resolve. It demands a coordinated transatlantic effort, with the U.S. playing a pivotal role in providing the military and financial support necessary to achieve this goal. Without American involvement, Europe's efforts risk being perceived as insufficient by both Ukraine and Russia. The fragility of the transatlantic alliance was another underlying theme of the summit. Recent tensions between Trump and European leaders have strained relations, with the U.S. administration openly questioning the commitment of its allies to democratic values and collective security. Elon Musk's controversial suggestion that the U.S. should leave NATO further exacerbated these tensions, highlighting the growing rift within the Western alliance. Against this backdrop, the Lancaster House Summit was as much about repairing transatlantic ties as it was about addressing the crisis in Ukraine. Diplomats at the summit expressed cautious optimism about the possibility of de-escalating tensions with Ukraine, but the mixed signals from the U.S. administration have complicated the picture. While Secretary of State Marco Rubio signaled a willingness to engage with Ukraine, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz's suggestion that Volodymyr Zelensky might need to resign as part of any ceasefire deal revealed the internal divisions within the Trump administration. These conflicting messages have left European leaders uncertain about America's true intentions and have raised doubts about the feasibility of a unified Western response. The summit's official conclusions emphasize the importance of a coalition of the willing to defend Ukraine and guarantee peace. However, the lack of clarity about the composition and scope of this coalition underscores the challenges ahead. Sir Keir's reference to a force consisting of European and other partners is deliberately vague, reflecting the difficulty of securing commitments from key stakeholders. The UK and France have already pledged to deploy troops to Ukraine, but their contributions alone are unlikely to be enough to deter Russian aggression. The involvement of other major powers, including the US, will be critical to the success of this initiative. Ultimately, the Lancaster House Summit represents a significant step forward in Europe's efforts to take ownership of the Ukraine crisis. By presenting a united front and committing to increased military support, European leaders have demonstrated their resolve to stand by Ukraine. However, the summit's impact will be limited unless it can persuade the Trump administration to abandon its transactional approach and embrace a more collaborative strategy. The cloud hanging over Lancaster House serves as a reminder that the path to peace in Ukraine is fraught with uncertainty, and much will depend on the choices made by the United States in the coming weeks and months. As the dust settles on the summit, the focus now shifts to Washington. Will Trump heed Europe's call for a unified approach, or will he continue to pursue a unilateral path that risks undermining the fragile progress made so far? The answer to this question will determine not only the fate of Ukraine, but also the future of the transatlantic alliance. For now, the world watches and waits, hoping that diplomacy will prevail over division.